Hello, everyone. My name is Hayden. I am the convener of the ISME student chapter that you're all members of by virtue of being members of ISME, or if you follow us on the Facebook page, you'll know a little bit more about us. But there's a few of us here. I'll just formally introduce what we're doing here today. We are having a nice big panel discussion with a series of, with a number rather, of the various commissioners of ISME's commissions. The commissions play an important role in the function of ISME and in being able to localize much of the expertise into some key areas. So today we'll be discussing the pre-conference seminars that we have and the role of these chapters at large. To those who don't know about the student chapter, maybe this is your first workshop, maybe you have forgotten since the last one. The student chapter is an arm of ISME that we are exclusively for the research students, the early career practitioners, the teaching students. You don't necessarily have to be a researcher, as it were, but we are focused exclusively on these early baby step professionals. So our role is to connect the students of the broader society and to foster cooperation and partnership across, to support the intellectual growth of these members through education such as this, guidance and mentorship from each other and your peers and various other networking opportunities. And hopefully, we'd like to inspire the next generation of people like these commissioners we have with us today, since I very much doubt they want to be commissioners forever. So somebody's got to take their place at some stage, and hopefully at some stage it'll be one of you or one of us, who knows. Today we are discussing the pre-conference seminars as one of the main things here. This is a screenshot from the website. I'll have a link to that at the end of the presentation. This is the pre-conference, as in it's the week before the major conference, where all of these special interest, not special interest groups, pardon me, but these discipline specializations, they move off into different corners of the immediate area. A lot of these conferences are happening around Finland. The pre-conferences are happening around Finland. A couple are happening across the river in Estonia. And they get together and they discuss wonderful discipline-specific, try say that 10 times fast, discipline-specific research that they're all doing. These are tighter communities. Instead of the many hundreds of attendees, you may have a couple dozen, you may have less than 100. They're really great, they're families. I attend CEPROM, and CEPROM always talks about its CEPROM family. So it's a beautiful little thing to be a part of. So hopefully we can convince you to submit to these pre-conferences today. I'm going to introduce some of the folks we have with us today. I'll qualify the gentleman in the middle there, Yanis Morales, who's from the Instrumental Vocal Music Teaching Commission, IVMTC. You will get very used to acronyms in being part of ISME. It doesn't appear to be with us today, unfortunately, but the other four surrounding that headshot, we have Sylvain Jacquard, he's also from IVMTC. We have Alicia, she's from the CMA, the Commission for Community Music Activity. We have Alejandra Garcia Trabuco, who is from, I mentioned CEPROM. The CEPROM is the Commission for the Education of the Professional Musician. That's always a fun acronym. And then we have Lauren, and Lauren is from the Early Childhood Music Education Commission, ECME. It's not quite as CEPROM, but ECME, maybe it's got a sophistication to it, doesn't it? So as we are, looks like we're getting many, many more people joining. So you've missed the wonderful introductions that we've done here, but in the interest of time, I'll cancel the sharing of this here. And we're just going to move into a discussion. I would love to first ask each of the commissioners, love each of you to respond to this, Alicia, Sylvain, Alejandra, and Lauren. If you could, how about we do it in that order? We'll start with Alicia. Tell me about, a little bit about yourself, of course. Tell me about the research you do and the commission that you are the chair of. So, Alicia, I'd love you to take the first call.
Okay. Hi, my name is Alicia de Banfi-Hall. I'm based in Germany, in Düsseldorf, in the northwest of Germany. And my research is based actually mostly in the field of community music. I've researched the development of community music in Germany. I've done quite a lot of work with opera and concert halls, opera houses and concert halls, and how they try to reach out in the community. And now I'm also quite close to the field of social work so using music as a tool for social change. I've been involved in CMA since I was a student, so I'm very pleased that you're doing these sessions, because for me it meant quite a lot as a student to come to CMA. It really broadened my horizon from the sort of national localized knowledge to the world, but I think we might be talking about that later. And the commission has been going since 1982, and the focus is all about community music, so music making in the community based on principles such as inclusion, participation, cultural democracy. And what was the other? You told me a number of questions, Hayden. What else did you ask?
Yes. Oh, just telling me about the commission that you work in. That's wonderful. As much information as you'd like to start us off with.
So I think just one last sentence. We're trying to really look at geographical representation in the commission. That's something we've been quite challenged by in the last few years. So I think Hayden's comment of future commissioners is a really important one. That it's really quite a challenge to find people that represent the whole world and the different regions and languages and practices. So we have not quite achieved that yet in our commission, but we're trying.
Alicia, you mentioned it's been running since, you said 86? Did I catch that correctly?
82 is what I believe.
That's 82, pardon me.
Yeah.
Now, do you know what number commissioner you are at this stage?
Oh, good point. Well, Chrissy and I are co-chairs. We're chairing the commission together. Chrissy D'Alexander from the US, and we're kind of we try to retrace the steps, but I don't know. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I figured it might be a fun piece of trivia for us. We'll have to put together a trivia competition for the student chapter, maybe. Sylvain, if I could move to you, Sylvain. The Giannis looks like he has come in, but his mic is off, and he's down there. But I'd love
I'm with you.
Hello, Giannis from Cyprus. So I mentioned Giannis and Sylvain. They're both from IVMTC. That's the Instrumental and Vocal Music Teaching Commission. So how about, Sylvain, would you like to start us off? Tell us about...
Just 1 second, please. Here. Okay, here, I just have to give a key to one of my professors. So, hi, all together. Okay, pas de souci. It's nice to meet you. One of the best thing of ISME is to have the pleasure to have a moment of sharing our faces and to sharing our lives. So you know what? It's terrible for me just to speak in front of names without faces. So if you have a webcam, I would be so happy to see your faces, because this is also ISME. It's a big community of music lovers, music professionals that like to just share beautiful moments together. My name is Sylvain Jacquard. I am a pianist. I am a singer. I am also choir and orchestral conductor. And first, during the last years, I was mostly in research and in research in music education. My specialization is about the competencies of the music teachers. But now, since 2 years, I am director of the Music University. You see it on my screen. It's the Music University in Switzerland called ECME Valais Fribourg. So since a few years, I am a little less in the research area, but of course, it's extremely important for me as director of a music university to be in touch with what is happening in the music research, in the music community, and to be able to always be in touch with people like you, with students, with the future of music education. And I think that is the most incredible thing we have to live together in ISME, is to have this possibility to share our questions, to share our thoughts, to share our findings and our ideas. And so, I mean, ISME is just an incredible opportunity for all of us, of all around the world, to be able to come together. So now, since a few years, I am part of the IVMTC commission. It's now a commission, but 2 years ago, it was still a forum. So it has become a commission, and next conference will be the first time where IVMTC is an official commission. I think we all get more competence since we are a commission. No, I'm joking. Of course, we are the same people with the same enthusiasts, and you will see that it's just great to come together to a pre-conference of our commission. Maybe I let my co-chair Yanis saying 2-3 words to.
Thank you, Sylvain. Hello to everyone. I'm sorry, maybe you hear a lot of music in the background. I'm in the Nicosia Music School, where I'm also teaching, and we're very excited to, as Sylvain mentioned, to start our official journey as a newly established commission within ISME. And our interest is to encourage all instrumental and vocal teachers to participate in our commission and learn from each other as far as the new developments that are going on in mainly in private music instruction, in a music school, in a private setting, but also in a small ensemble or small group instruction, which is becoming more and more common these last years. And as a newly established commission, we also expanded our focus to include not only teaching of Western musical instruments, but we hope that we will have with us music teachers to teach any other musical instruments from around the world. So we hope that we will have students and teachers joining our commission and exchanging ideas, good practices, and research in this field. So thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sylvain and Yanis. We'll continue moving in the order I mentioned earlier. I believe it was Alejandra was next. She's also co-chair of CEPROM, but Guadalupe, who's the other co-chair, she was not able to be here. But Alejandra, tell us a bit about you. Obviously, I know you dearly, but a lot of the people here might not. So tell us about you. Tell us about CEPROM. I'll take it away.
Yes. Okay. Well, good morning for some, good evening for others, and that's the magic of ISME, right? We are people from around the world sharing ideas, experiences, and thoughts. I love that, and that, as Alicia said, has changed my life, and I hope this passes on to other people. So my name is Alejandra Garcia Trabuco. I'm from Argentina. I'm basically an orchestra player. That's my main job. I play the oboe and the English horn. Later in life, I got interested in teaching, and so now I'm a university teacher for some years now at the Universidad Nacional de Cuyo in Mendoza. It's the western part of Argentina. And as I got involved in teaching, I also got involved in research, because we understand the university job with 3 legs, you know, education, outreach, and research. We're supposed to do all of that. And so about our commission, the title says it itself, right? The Commission of the Education of the Professional Musician. So we take care of the careers that make a person a professional musician. And those careers are usually located in university colleges, but also, depending on the part of the world, they could be in conservatories or other paths that lead a person to a professional life, because, you know, our career and art careers in general are more than a job. They are a lifestyle, and they continue through the lifespan. So in CEPROM, we discuss different strategies, innovative practices within the music careers in all areas. I mean, not only I'm a performer, but performing, conducting, composing, music education, all areas of music that have a professional career, right? We care for the tertiary level and how that formation can be comprehensive. I mean, a musician that is going to serve a community, that is going to take the message of art in a meaningful way to her community, and through these societies also around the world, because we have the opportunity to share it with people from different parts of the world and to learn from very different experiences that nurture our job. And you may think as students, oh, this sounds like a teacher's, professor's commission, but not, because we understand education as being constructed both by the teacher scope, but from the student scope. We really need your viewpoint to understand our own jobs. We need to know your needs, your thoughts, your experiences as advanced students. So we care a lot about you submitting to our commission. Last time in our last seminar, and Hayden knows because he won it. We had a prize, a money prize for the best student presentation. And they were so good that we had to share it. Oh, something happened.
Oh, looks like your camera disappeared.
Oh,
Where's
okay.
it gone? There we are, you're back.
So we really care about the student views about their own careers, their possibilities of job placement, the challenges they face when they try to enter the job arena. And also we care about the lifespan of the professional musician, you know, the problems and the opportunities of the early career, the mid-career, and also the late career. What happens to a professional musician throughout the career. So I don't know if I've been clear enough, or if you want anything.
Wonderfully clear.
Oh, okay.
No, I think that's a wonderful introduction to CEPROM. CEPROM is my primary commission of choice, so I have a special place in my heart for the work of Alejandra. Last but certainly not least, Lauren, if Shri will give you a nice spotlight there. Lauren, if you could introduce yourself. You are our one United States representative at this point. So you've got a giant nation on your back here. Tell us about your work with Early Childhood Music Education Commission.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. It's great to be here. Thank you, Hayden, and all the organizers for inviting us. It is early here. You are the first people I'm talking to today, so good morning. So let's see. About me, my background is I was a piano performance pedagogy person. So my experience is performing piano, but also teaching piano. And so my interest was teaching young children the piano. And I was very interested in how do children learn at the piano. And following this journey out took me into a PhD in music education, which led me into an early childhood classroom. And the things that I saw in the early childhood classroom kind of just blew my mind. I had no idea what I would find there. And I learned so much watching those children be musical within a music classroom that I started to think about what does it look like for early childhood in a piano lesson setting, and what kind of foundation could that set for those children that we are missing in the piano pedagogy world. Often in piano pedagogy, we don't talk about early childhood. We don't even know what to do with it. So this has been my personal journey. And my research focuses on piano lesson settings, specifically watching and observing and learning about how children engage in a musical space and how we might think about our teaching and the musical spaces that we create for them, the environments that we set up in order to help them in their journeys. So it's been a fascinating journey for me. My first ECME pre-conference seminar was in 2010 in Beijing. And it was, my advisor was actually a commission in the ECME commission. So she pulled me in, and I have found it to be such an incredibly warm space. The people that speak the most into who I am and into my research, who I am as a researcher and a teacher and a musician, have been within the ECME community. So as others have said, it really is a community space. ECME focuses on really anything having to do with music in the lives of young children. So music with young children, music for young children, advocacy for musical environments for young children. We talk a lot about caregivers and the spaces that music occurs in children's lives. We are a research commission. We are a practitioner commission. So we have a lot of practitioners, and we try to work together with the researchers and the practitioners to just think about what does it look like to nurture musicianship in the lives from the earliest days. So even prenatal musical experiences are things that we're interested in. So we would love to see you. It's a very, very, I find the commissions to be such good spaces for exploration of just finding out who you are as a researcher and how you might want to move forward in your career. So we welcome any and all interest, and thank you again for having me. You're muted, Hayden.
Oh, I've done it, haven't I? Thank you so much, Lauren. I wasn't aware that ECME was the vernacular of choice for the shortening of the of that there, but I'll use that in the future. I think ECME it's much easier to say than ECME, as much as ECME has got a sophistication, as I mentioned. Lauren, I might continue with you because you mentioned about sounds like it was about 10 years ago you first joined with your alongside your supervisor at the time, it sounds like. Please tell us more about how you that first experience at the pre-conference seminar went. What work did you submit? What was that submission process like, and what was it like actually being there?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because in 2010, I was only in the third year of my program. I was still sort of figuring out what I wanted to focus on. So ECME has a policy that we accept practice papers. And so I really, at that point, I had started exploring what a pianist in space might look like with a 4-year-old. Or actually, I think she was 3. And so I just shared a project about what I was thinking about with that child. And it was foundational for my dissertation work. And it was really the first project that set me on a pathway. So point being, submit early on. And those spaces can be very helpful for forming your own thoughts. Let's see, it was in Beijing, and another practice that ECME has, and I don't know how the other commissions do this, but we invite the local teachers to join us. There was a massive amount of people at that conference. I would say that 3/4 of the room were local Chinese teachers, and they were so interested in the work of ECME. And so it was a really interesting and exciting space because there were just so many questions and ideas floating around. And I find that to be very typical also of the pre-conference seminars. I'm not sure if I've covered all of your questions, but.
No, pardon me. I think I'm lumping a lot of excitement into my questions. I think you've summarized your first introduction into ECME quite succinctly. Alicia, I'd be interested for CMA, and community music is a really fast growing and an exciting area of what ISME does. And in Australia, where I am, we have quite a number of really sophisticated community music scholars. What are you seeing about for the or what have you seen in the past? I suppose we haven't seen the latest about these early career and the potentially PhD students or perhaps first-time lecturers submitting and presenting work within your commission. Tell us some of the excitement you see around that.
So I think our commission is similar to Lauren's, that we really encourage practice-based people and research-based people. So we invite arts-based presentations, workshops. So we have this whole range of kind of presentation types. And my first visit was similar, was also a PhD student. So I always felt it was a very welcoming space for people who are on their way. There wasn't this sort of expectation of being arrived at this knowledge or whatever. And I think this year, actually, we are making an intentional effort to include and invite students. So for us, that's something that we're really emphasizing, and that we, on the one hand, we want to create spaces for students to within the field of community music to talk amongst each other. So sort of safe spaces where they don't have to feel like they have to perform maybe in the same way as they do a big presentation in front of all these people. But also we want to weave it into obviously we don't want to keep it separate. We want to have both. So we're really trying to yes, hopefully have lots and lots of students, because it is it's just an important part of how the commission, how we want to be.
I think you've touched on a question I was desperate to ask all of you, and that was about what are the things that your commissions and these pre-conference seminars in particular, what are the benefits for early career and PhD students in their submissions? So I'd invite any of you who'd like to respond to this. I'd love to hear a couple of the commissioners' thoughts, potentially Sylvain or Alejandra. We've yet to hear some extra thoughts. What do you think that these commissions and the pre-conference seminars offer these potentially first-time World Conference attendees? Yes, Alejandra, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, and that's related to my own experience, right? Because I got into the CEPROM Commission because I found there authors that I really admired, that I cited in my research in person, right? And so one very important thing about participating in the commissions that are, smaller spaces in relation to the ocean that is the ISME conference, is that you can really interact in person directly in a very familiar setting with very interesting authors from around the world. And so that is a great benefit, because you're going to receive feedback of the presentation you do, whether it's a poster or an oral presentation or a pecha kucha that I'm going to ask to talk about later if you want, from really accomplished people. And also at the same time, from students like you who are struggling with different paths and ideas and problems in putting together your research. So I think feedback in a personal level, and that space, and feedback from people from very different parts of the world who have different viewpoints, is one of the most important outcomes of participating in pre-conference seminars. Also, you will have a publication. I mean, we publish, all of us, all the commissions, publish the proceedings. So now you have a publication among very important authors, and that is a game situation also. That's what I want to transmit.
Thank you, Alejandra. Sylvain, would you like to comment? I'd love to hear your thoughts. We've interacted on some occasions, but I know you've been all around ISME in just about every corner throughout your time. So it'd be wonderful to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Alejandra. It was the first time I came to ISME. It was just incredible to see the person I cited in my thesis. Suddenly you realize, oh yeah, those are human beings. You just have the feeling they are living in RELM only, those guys, and suddenly you realize, wow, yeah, this person is existing, and we can drink coffee together and have a little talk and just say, listen, when you were writing this, what do you exactly mean, and just taking this quality time of having beautiful small talks together and just realizing that those guys are like you and me, and with same questions and same joys in life. That's incredible. But most of all, I have to say, as a music teacher, I was from time to time, I had a little the feeling at the beginning of my career that I was a little an exception in the teaching area. You know, you have the incredible mathematics teacher that have so much power in schools and so on, and you have just the feeling to be the little music teacher and to say sorry to live. And suddenly when you come in ISME and you see, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 people that are like you, are music teachers and are I mean, it's such an incredible feeling to have this this sense of being part of such a huge community. I have really to say that I would wish to all music teacher, if you are just an instrumental teacher alone in your little room, piano teaching room, to have suddenly this possibility to realize how important music is in the whole world and how important your place is in this world. That's great. You come from ISME just with a big smile.
Wonderful. Giannis has raised his hand. Giannis, please, by all means, input what you would love to share. That's right. He's just said 1 minute.
Sorry. Yes,
There he is.
yes. I totally agree with what Alejandra and Sylvain mentioned, and I will expand a little bit on that. I think we all start from attending probably national conferences where we meet colleagues from within our own country. Being from Cyprus, this is a very small community. We also attended conferences in Greece. But I think what ISME has to offer is that it gives you the opportunity, first of all, to meet colleagues from all over the world and to share ideas and about practices and about research that otherwise you wouldn't have the opportunity to get in touch with. And also it gives you the opportunity in the pre-conferences to come in a smaller meeting, again, with colleagues from all over the world, and have this close interaction that was mentioned before with colleagues who are focusing on specific areas of research or practice that you are interested in. So I strongly encourage everybody to take the opportunity or to attend not only the World Conference, which is big and it has almost everybody that we have read about in the books and in the articles and in the research, and to meet them and listen to them live. But it also gives you the opportunity to have 2-3 days where you, in a more friendly and safe, I might say, environment, a more welcoming environment in the pre-conference, where you interact with colleagues that are specifically interested in your area. So this is, I think it's a unique opportunity to visit the country, attend a conference, and have both of those invaluable experiences of attending a huge, big world conference with everybody from around the world, but at the same time, with meeting colleagues in a much smaller context. I think this, from my experience at least, I think is something that you don't find in many other places, and ISME provides this opportunity. So I just wanted to add on this. Thank you.
Absolutely. And my first ISME was the last was it 2022 now it would have been, and I can say with absolute support everything that all of these commissioners have said. This opportunity to interact with people that I absolutely idolize, their work, that as Sylvain said, you realize that, oh, these people are people. They're just like you, but you to be able to meet them face to face, not only does it humanize them, but for me, it was really inspiring to be able to meet them and realize maybe I could be like that. I would love everyone here, because I'd like to do a quick survey if possible. If you wouldn't mind, throw your cameras on. It's much nicer to speak to some faces as it is to just names from across the world, as varietous and exciting as all your names are. If you wouldn't mind, throw on your cameras. And I'd love to know, you can just use the show of hands or you can type it in the chat. Which of you will make 2024 your first ISME attendance? if there's anyone here that is attending ISME, whether it's a pre-conference seminar or the World Conference for the absolute first time, it'd be interesting to know if there is anybody here in that position. I can see Dorothy Lee, Ingrid will be coming for the first time. Wonderful. Well, look, this will be my second, as I mentioned, but I still am at such a stage of my career where I don't really know how to do it. I haven't been doing it as long as some of these other folks who understand it inside and out. So I might call on Alicia if I can, and I'd love to know two things. One, a very short question, as what do you do as the commissioner around this conference, the conference preparation time? In fact, how about we'll start with that? I won't double barrel my questions, as we would say. Tell me about what a commissioner does around this time of year.
So we were quite late in finding our location. That was actually a massive challenge in finding a partner in Finland or near Finland that was going to be our host. So we have the host, and at the moment we're looking at creating we were sort of awaiting the deadline. The abstracts will all be submitted on the 1st of November, I think, is the deadline. So we feel like we have this window now that we need to use until we can look at the abstracts and sort all of that out. So we have regular meetings, look at things like today. Actually, we want to look at our mission and vision again, because that seems like something that hasn't been that's something we need to look at again. We're looking at creating links with local Finnish community musicians and musicians. We're looking at preparing the programming of the commission, the week that we have next year. Oh my God, what else? It's a lot of work. We just submitted a funding application to get some money, maybe extra money, so we can create a really nice week. We're looking at creating some kind of not structure, but format for student participants. We're writing a newsletter. We're doing social media. It's from organizing the program to organizing things with the Finnish partners. It's a lot of different kinds of things.
It sounds like there's an awful lot of work that goes into what seems like something that happens for 3 days every 2 years. But I think we all know it's a lot more than that. And being able to have the location, obviously, to look through all the submissions is a mountain of work, no doubt. For these submissions, and Alicia, you can continue, or any of the other commissioners can join in. What is it that and this is I encourage everyone, if you'd like to take notes, note that this presentation is recorded. What do you look for when you're looking at some of these early career submission, the submissions to the chapter? I suppose you actually won't know if they're from early career researchers. So it'd be good to know, what is it that you look for when you're seeing submissions to your chapter? Do you have an agenda in mind? Are you focused on some key things that you would like representation on in that year? I'd love anyone to take the floor if they are willing, and if not, I will volunteer someone myself. Oh, who am I going to call? Alejandro, you put your hand up. I was going to call on you anyway. So everyone, yeah, Alejandro, if you would not mind, tell us, what is it that you look for as a commissioner looking through these applications, these submissions? What is it you look for? What can you teach those of us who are going to be submitting?
Yes, I'm going to speak two different things, right? First of all, the topics themselves, which are the topics that we care about at CEPROM, the Commission of the Education of the Professional Musician. We have usually we have a lot of presentations that relate to the transformative curriculum, to innovations in pedagogy at the tertiary level, right? Usually, for example, collaborative strategies in the tertiary level, the relationship with the community, how university relates to the community in a meaningful way, how we prepare students and early practitioners, to have a meaningful relationship with their social context. So those are typical topics. The topic this year is advocacy, right? And actually, to be a musician is to be an advocate in the society that is so commercially oriented, you know, so money oriented. So just to take care of art is to be an advocate in difficult times, right? So all these topics are crossed by advocacy. If you're trying to transform the curriculum to do innovative things, you are really an advocate, right? If you're trying to do a meaningful thing from the university to the community, you're a strong advocate for arts. It's very important what you're doing. So that's one part of the answer. And the other part is that we have, I mean, all of us, all the commissions have different formats in which you can submit. So we take care of that. You have the full paper, right? The oral presentation. If you want to apply for that, you need to have a really strong finished research or research-based teaching experience or student experience or community experience, right? But that's for the full paper, something that is finished, that is strong, and that you can send the whole paper for the submission. Then instead, you could present a poster, right? In that case, you only have to turn in by November 1st the abstract. So if you feel more comfortable in the poster format, particularly if it's your first time around, it may be an interesting opportunity. But also we created a new opportunity for us in this commission, maybe other commissions already had that, I don't know, is the Pecha Kucha. Because we are really interested in bringing in people from different parts of the world who are not able to travel, because travel is expensive and time-consuming, and particularly for students, it could be a big challenge. So we have this format that is pre-recorded, that is brief, but is very attractive visually, right? In which you could present your research or your work, your thesis, what you're working on. And in that case, you only have to submit the abstract by November 1st. And upon acceptance, you will send us your pre-recorded Pecha Kucha, which is like a very short PowerPoint presentation, very attractive, very interesting. And we're going to make a virtual session in which we're going to watch all those Pecha Kuchas. Also, workshops, also symposia. But I think that for early career graduate students, early career researchers, the poster and the Pecha Kucha are very suitable, or the oral presentation if you have your research finished.
I think that's, first of all, thank you, Alejandra. The options for the poster and the Pecha Kucha, as you said, are really great opportunities for those who potentially are too early on in your PhD to have produced any complete work. Perhaps you just haven't nutted out all the analysis at some stage if you're doing a large qualitative piece, or if you just want to practice something. So there are, jump to the ISME Commission's website. I think it's isme-commissions.org. It's been linked a couple of times in this link, and also look at pechakucha.com. Pecha Kucha is a really interesting way of presenting. I believe they're also called 20 by 20, aren't they? It's 20 images that each last 20 seconds, and you have a speech that's synchronized over them. So having these various opportunities for new researchers is really exciting. The idea of presenting a giant paper as your first submission might be really daunting. So these things exist for those of you who either, as you say, just aren't ready, or you want to just put your foot in the water, as it would be. Perhaps that that saying doesn't translate to all languages. Lauren, I'd be interested to know for ECME, ECME, the early childhood space is potentially the longest longest running field of music research in the world. It's a massively important part about what it is we all do. What is it that in your role of commissioner for ECME, what is it that you look for in your commissions, and what advice might you have for potential applicants?
Thank you. I think one thing that is important to note for ECME is that we accept in progress work. So if you're working on something that you don't have all of your results for yet, you can send us a paper where you tell us what you already have, tell us where you sort of see it going, and with the idea that it would be completed by July. So that might be helpful to you if you're in beginning stages of something. We are very open to that. I love what Alejandra is saying about posters is also a really great space. And in ECME, we don't have the Picha Kucha option in place at this point. But what we do have is if you are accepted for a poster, we do open space where you present that poster to the whole group in a few minutes. And so you do get some opportunity to actually speak about it. And so that is another really good option if that's interesting to you. I think that for early childhood, what we are really looking for is just what is new and exciting, what's important. We care a lot about, you know, the world is very challenging. Everyone is facing challenges. Early childhood is, how do we meet the challenges of the children, of the parents, of the teachers, right? So anything related to that. And what we have a theme, we follow the theme of ISME every year, and you're not limited to that theme, but if your work is focused towards that theme, that can also be a way for you to think about what's important, what's going on, how do I want to engage in the topics that people are really thinking about right now. And so I also suggest that you look at the theme and really think about how you might speak to that, if that's helpful to you. But again, you don't have to submit according to the theme if you're thinking about something outside of that. So.
Great. I figure it might be worth, I think I've gone around almost around the full circle of our commissions, our 4 commissions we have present with us today, but we haven't heard from IVMTC about your submission suggestions, guidelines. You're obviously a brand new commission, so you get to make the rules for the first time, don't you? So Sylvain, it looks like you're ready to take the call.
You know, when I submitted the first time, I was a doctoral student and I was so disappointed because I don't, you all know how much time it takes when you prepare your paper presentation, and you're totally looking forward to have a lot of feedbacks and things like this. But it often happens, like it happens for me, that when you make your presentation, first of all, the 20 minutes are too short, so you are totally frustrated because at the end somebody shows you 2 minutes left and 1 minute left, and you say, I have such things, so more things to say. And then afterwards, when you are finished, 10 minutes of questions and things like this, and you are disappointed because you think, I wanted more feedback. I really need more feedback. And that's why we have created a new submission category. It's called, for IVMTC, spoken papers with respondents. That means that you will, I mean, if you are almost at the end of your doctoral dissertation, it's extremely interesting because then you send the full paper, of course. So you really take time to give a lot of information about your research. And there is one of senior researcher of IVMTC who will be your respondent. That means he will be really taking the time to think about your work, to think about questions he can give back and feedback he can give. So this presentation will be, you have 30 minutes to present your paper. That's a bit more. Then your respondent will have 10 minutes to give you a feedback and to ask you very, very specific questions. And then we have 20 minutes of discussion with all the people that are here. That means at the end of the hour, you will be exhausted, but you will be so happy.
Amazing. And I do think the feedback, as we mentioned, the ability to interact with these prolific scholars within CEPROM. We have some names in there, such as Dawn Bennett is one that was there last year. You can't read a paper without finding Bennett somewhere in there. So to be able to have these people ask you questions, to be able to ask them questions, is just remarkable. That I think is one of the key things for these new or potentially first time or still, second, third, early career presenters, to get that feedback on your work. And I'd be interested, I'll put out an open call, anyone who'd like to talk about this. In addition to what we've spoken to thus far about be able to speak to those who we respect and cite regularly, the opportunity to have some practice presenting, the ability to have questions asked of you. Is there anything else that comes to mind on this subject of what is there to gain for an early career researcher, practitioner, teacher to be presenting at a pre-conference seminar? Alicia, take the call.
I totally agree with everything everyone else has said. And I think another thing is that you form relationships with people that you would otherwise never meet. And that is nice, as I don't know who was that, Sylvain, I think, said, you're usually often quite on your own on your work, with your work, I mean, and there you meet like-minded people who think about similar things. So that's really, that is a strengthening, encouraging thing to experience. But also you make connections with people that you then might work with at some point, or you might write a paper in 3 years' time, or you know, all these sort of connections which are personal as well as in your thinking are extremely valuable. And because it's so intense that week at the pre-conference, you're spending all this time together, and then you have the conference dinner, and you're together for an intense amount of time. You do really get to know each other, and then you meet each other again in 2 years. And it is relationships that are quite deep after a while, because in adult life we don't get to spend that much time intensely. It's a bit like when you're when you're younger, you have that more. So it's a really nice personal experience, but I think a lot of things spring out of these seminars: written papers, books, projects. I've done so much work with people from different countries that we did, student lectures together, or winter schools, or publications. So that's another thing that sort of the fruits come a bit later, but they're really, really positive.
I might call on Alejandra to comment further. Sorry for putting you on the spot, but one thing that I think is very important, and perhaps Lechuan, one of our other members here, might be able to comment. But if for those who are from countries where English is not the predominant language, maybe your English is not so strong, it would be interesting to hear from Alejandra, yourself, and potentially Lechuan, who I know has attended ISME in the past, about what your experiences are and what you might suggest for those who their English is their second language. They may be totally fluent, they may not be. But what does that afford you as someone not from the quote English-speaking part of the world?
Yes, thanks for asking that, because it's challenging, right? I guess many people think, oh, I cannot participate in this because I'm unsure, I may feel shy about, speaking English. First of all, you have to know that many of us are not native English speakers. So we are all struggling, and we are all trying to understand, and we all have to ask again, sorry, can you say that again? Can you speak slower, right? That's the interesting thing of ISME. It's an international community. So don't be afraid of trying to speak in English as best you can, and make all the mistakes I'm sure I'm making now. So that's one thing. And the other thing I want to say is that, for example, when we thought about the Pecha Kucha alternative, is because you send something that is recorded, right? So when you record it, you can read it. You can have somebody else read it if you don't feel strong in oral English. So it's a real opportunity to step in without having to be very fluent in English in person, and also if you cannot afford the trip. So the Pecha Kucha would be a good step into the seminar for people who feel a bit unsure about their management of English. Then the poster too, it's less than, it has a less amount of time for presentation than the full presentation. And you have the written poster behind you to help. So for somebody that is not a native speaker, maybe a poster is an interesting step in. And I would like to mention something that has not been mentioned, which are the regional conferences. We are now having a regional conference. By the way, I'm traveling to Chile tomorrow for the regional conference, which is Latin American and Pan American. And that is a great opportunity to participate in the ISME activities with people in your own language, with people with the same problems you have. And that way you step in ISME in an easier way. And then maybe you feel more encouraged to participate in the big conference or in the seminars. So take advantage of the regional conferences.
Fantastic. Thank you for reminding me of that. I think it's very important, particularly from those at Latin America, of course. You get to meet up with almost strictly Latin American attendees, and you can escape perhaps the anglophonic part of the world for a bit, but still, maybe it's an opportunity to practice. Lishuan. Lishuan is a brief introduction. She's one of the membership and leadership team members of the student chapter. I believe you are currently based in Hong Kong. Is that correct, Lishuan? And you're from China as well. So experience with, well, it speaks for itself. I'll let Lishuan take the floor here.
Okay, thank you, Hayden. And I really like Alexandra's ideas about how to improve our English oral English level, especially as the English as our second language. And based on my experience and also the suggestion right now we're giving to the Chinese, our Chinese friends, is we always said having the courage is the most important thing. You step up first to see how the world connect, and then you will be promoted. You will actually self-promoted by yourself, and to have the courage and to really try your best to learn English, because I believe in many countries in the world, we feel very comfortable to just speak our own language, right? We can connect the people with our own regions, and we don't have to connect people with other parts of the world until we go to the world conference or regional conferences. And then we see, wow, people really coming from the different parts of the world, and we speak the same languages, and we learn from each other with different research ideas, and we read each other's paper, and we even drink a cup of coffee and just having a few conversations. So this is the amazing part. So the suggestion we made usually is we ask students or the early career people to go to the conference with one person who are fluent with English. So when you present, you prepare your script with English, and then you can read it. Even, well, we don't encourage them to read, but if as the first step, if you want to read it, just do it. And then you prepare your English, at least you practice your English. And at the Q&A section, you have another one who advanced in English. And then that one can help you pair you up and to answer some questions in English for you. And after the first time, maybe you make some friends, maybe you see how the world conference look like, and how you really feel that. And maybe the second time you will have to really the courage to do that by yourself. So based on the past year's experience, we do see there's a few, I don't want to say many, but at least I know 10 people or 20 people from mainland China. They at the beginning their English with each other, or they don't speak in English, but right now they participated 3 times already. And this coming year, they wanted to present by themselves and answer the Q&A. So this is just a little bit sharing. And I do think we all can make it. We just have to let them know it is important, how important to make connections. Yeah, thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lashwan. And Shri from she's from the ISME main office, as it were. She runs I've run so many things, but communications is the primary title of her role. Shri is from India, and I won't babble on too long. I'll let her take the floor.
Yeah. Thanks, Hayden. I'm going to jump in a little bit on this English question. So I am sure I have mentioned this before in one of the earlier webinars, student chapter webinars, but I'm going to repeat it again for those who are coming here for the first time. So I attended a regional conference in Nepal a few years ago in Kathmandu, and there was one folk musician, a Nepali folk musician, who presented in her native language, and she had a friend to translate for her. So how they worked it was that they completed the entire thing within 20 minutes. So they planned it that way. They planned it that she spoke, and then her friend translated, and then she was explaining stuff. So she did get the spotlight, and the audience did understand what she was talking about. So that is another idea that, because she's a folk musician, you can't expect a folk musician from Nepal to speak English, but she still had the spotlight. And I think that was very, very well made, the presentation, and just throwing the idea out there.
Fantastic. I wasn't aware of that. And especially in these parts of Nepal and remote parts of the world, there's so many rich musical cultures, histories spanning many, many thousands of years. Australia is a country that is 200 years old, and there are musical cultures in Nepal that span thousands. So yes, we'd be foolish if we didn't want to learn from folks like yourself. So if you know anyone like that, or if you are someone with competence in that area, I'm certain you would find a wonderful audience within ISME. We're reaching the end of what I wanted to be the formal panel part of the question. So I want to put out one last question to all of our commissioners here. And this is a lovely, very general, as I said, an open call and an uplifting question that, given all that you know now with your many years of experience within ISME, within your respective commission, and your role as commissioner, with all of this experience, do you have any key advice that you would give, whether they're first time or still early career attendees of these commissions? What advice might you give them that will just push them over the line?
May I jump in for this?
Of course, Giannis.
I think the best advice I can give is don't be intimidated, don't be afraid, don't be worried. I use 3 different terms. Don't be hesitant to submit your application and test your proposal, have your proposal tested, let's say, be evaluated from others, and don't think twice about attending an ISME World Conference and an ISME pre-conference. ISME is a wonderful family of like-minded individuals, colleagues, professionals, music lovers, and teachers who are interested in improving their professional engagement. And I think ISME is the best opportunity, provides the avenue for the best opportunity to meet others and to get feedback and to feel welcomed and to feel that what we are doing is crucial and important for students and for adults alike and for the society in general. I haven't felt anywhere these feelings of what we're doing as being as important as it is as in the ISME conference and pre-conference. So I encourage all students to send their application and be part of this wonderful family.
Amazing. Any of the other commissioner? Alicia, please take the floor.
Yeah. I think I totally agree. And I would add, definitely go to a pre-conference, because the main conference is so big. For me, when I went for the first time, I was actually quite intimidated, and it's quite, you don't accidentally bump into people. That's how big it is. Whereas the pre-conference is you really build relationships, you can find your community of your specific interests that you have. So I would recommend that you absolutely go at the first time, or even the first time, definitely go to a pre-conference, because that will then also carry you through the main conference in terms of you've already met a number of people who think about similar things to you, and you've made some connections. And also, I agree, just do it, just come, don't wait. We're the same, like what similar to what Lauren said. We welcome people who are on their journey. You don't have to submit something perfect, or so I would agree, just submit something and come and join that community. But I would really recommend you join a pre-conference as a sort of safe first step, and then go to the main conference.
Fantastic advice. Just do it, as Nike would say. Not that Nike has much to do with ISME. I'll ask for any other final words from the other commissioners before I formally close off the formal questions. Sylvain, please.
Yeah, please. Maybe I absolutely totally agree what Alicia just said. Now it's really the best thing to do to go to a pre-conference before, because you will be part of a little family, and that's so important. When you arrive at the conference, you will be a little intimidated because you have just the feeling that they all know themselves, they are all friends, and you are just outside of this club. But I can really tell you, even if you have the feeling that they all know each other, maybe 1 year before they didn't know each other, that means that if you have the courage to go to them and say, "Hi, my name is Nancy Shan, I'm really very happy to meet you," then you will see something is happening, and you will just share beautiful moments. But a little courage is absolutely important.
Can I say too? I don't know how commissioners do, but we are. If you can get involved even before the pre-conference seminar, that can help. So I'm going to put in the chat. We have a link to a newsletter if you want to sign up for that to hear what ECME is doing. We're also doing a ISME Cafe on November 7th. So look for those cafes, because they're a really important way to get connected before you even go to the pre-conference seminar.
Fantastic. And the pre-conference seminars, you are part of it before the seminar itself, and you will be part of it after the conference as well. These communities, they may leave one another physically, but I can attest that the emails never stop, and you're always chatting with one another and seeing them in various places. So look, without further ado, I'll formally close off the me taking the charge and you listening to my dull Australian voice for an hour. And I'd love to open the floor to questions from anyone, any of the attendees that are here. I believe, Kan Lu, you had a wonderful question about the value of a conference paper. If you're in the audience and you're comfortable sharing, I'd love to hear you verbalize your question.
Hi, everyone. I just wondering, I think it's quite difficult to find a published conference paper online. Then I'm just wondering why we should publish it. Whether everyone can answer my question, please. Thank
Alejandra,
you.
please.
Yes, I actually receive in my mail all the time from academia, different papers, and that's how I learned about CEPROM, right? Through John Bennett's papers, John Lebler's papers. So actually, I think, it's great that you say that, because that gives you an advice that we have to be more active in promoting our own publications. But also, if you go to academia, you find at least the CEPROM proceedings are there. But yes, we could be more active, and thank you for saying that, in promoting our own publications.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners are free to comment on that one before we pass off, before I pass it off to LeShuan quickly. If not, how about LeShuan in that case? Feel free to ask away or comment however you wish.
Okay, thanks, Hayden, and thanks, Luzhan, for the question. I'm just answered this question based on my personal experience, because I'm living in Hong Kong and having a extremely fast speed. So people are constantly like telling me and remind me, please focusing on your paper to a good journal rather than just conference paper. I have to say, this is really honest to say, and the professor will tell the students, please consider where you publish your paper. But that is the only reason, because we need, well, sorry, I have to say that we need this paper to have our job promotion. Well, it is quite cruel, but it is the truth. So I think the world is happening in this way, in some way like that. But why we are submitting a paper to a conference, I think as a student, especially as a very young researchers, we need a place to publish a paper. Number one, it's I don't want to say easy track, but it is easier than we send it to a really good high ranking paper. We got the rejection rate is super high, and that actually harm our confidence to become a researcher. And I have personal experience just waiting for a whole year, just got the first round revision. And then the second year, I don't want to wait for so long. So as the early career musician or music educator, I think you do want to build up your confidence. So if this is your first paper and if you write it, you want to have a quick publication, you write it in a good format, good quality, you can try in a conference paper first. And then you can at least have this paper in hands, and then you can write it on your resume. It will build up your profile. It just slowly, when you get into the academic world, and then later on you can publish your paper anywhere in the world. This is just my personal experience.
Okay, thank you, Lasha.
Thank you, Lashwan. And Shri, did you have any further comments about this?
Yeah, what Lashwan said.
What Lashwan said, easy. Well, a carbon copy, as it were. Excellent. Does anyone else have any further questions they would like to ask? You can put them in the chat if you would prefer. You can verbalize them. Just throw up your hand, unmute your mic, and start screaming. Here we are. We have a question from Dorothy. Dorothy, would you prefer I read your question out?
No, that's all right. I can read it. I was just wondering, I tried to just click into like the submit button for both the IVMTC and the CEPROM, and I've put in all my details and it says closed. So I was just wondering about that.
So I'm going to jump in and answer that. First of all, there was a glitch in the system, but it's fine now. If you try now, it works.
I tried it like 3 minutes ago.
Okay, I'll check, but that's just a glitch to the system. You can try again. I'm sure they'll fix it, because the conference officers are handling this in Finland, and because yesterday and today we've had so many submissions, and the system kind of broke down. But you can keep trying. And I'm sorry, is this for the World Conference or for the pre-conference seminars?
The pre-conference.
No, she's right. The pre-conference says.
Yeah, that's still a month away, so you're good. I mean, the deadline is November the 1st, so you still have time. Maybe don't do it the next couple of days, because people are going to submit en masse for the main conference. So maybe give it a week and then try again.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
and it sounds like another Australian.
IVMTC is closed today. There is a bug. We'll fix it.
Fantastic. Yes, the poor Shri has been handling some terrifying technical issues. So please, everyone, put Shri in your prayers and make sure she gets a good night's sleep. Kailu, you have another question. Please take the floor.
Thank you. So I loved the pre-conference, like the research commission, and also like the World Conference. I guess maybe I can apply both of them, but it seems too much work to do kind of two research studies. I mean, to apply both of them. So what suggestions do you have, or other people have, please?
Fantastic question. If any of the commissioners would like to comment, please do. Alejandra,
you're probably saying it.
You want to go? Well, I say brief. What I did before is to send, for example, a full paper to the seminar and a poster to ISME, or the other way around. I mean, that's how I handled it. So to have different types of presentations, I think it's a bit more relaxed than trying to do 2 full papers, for example. That's my advice.
There is, though, ISME has, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but if you submit to a pre-conference seminar a paper and it's accepted, it automatically can go to ISME as a poster. So you can be present at ISME with the same project as a poster. But I believe, too, that we said this summer, even if you submit a poster, that poster can also go to ISME. Am I right about that? Is that how we're understanding that? Yeah. So
I know about a paper that goes to the pre-conference can go as a poster to the main conference. That is correct. I'm not quite sure about the poster going as a poster.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure about that. We'll have to check.
Okay.
But yes, the paper in the pre-conference can go as a poster to the main conference. That is correct.
Great. If any of you have any questions about submitting to the various to the chapters, whether the chapters, pardon me, we are the chapter, to the pre-conference or the World Conference, heading to the submission website. They've got some really wonderful frequently asked questions and what is it called? The submission formats, the various formats that you can submit in, really concise and precise information in there. So you'll find your answer there, no doubt. Christian Vasilev, please, you have the floor. Ask your question.
Yes, hello. First, thank you, everybody. Can you hear me well? Thank you for this short seminar. I really enjoy what I hear here. I haven't participated in any pre-conference or world conferences so far, and maybe next year together with a colleague, Harry Rangewolf, will be able to come to the World Conference, hopefully, if we get funding for it. We come from Bulgaria, so it's not far away geographically, but still we need to get the necessary funding. So hopefully the state will fund us for next year and we'll be able to come. But what I heard here was that there was different ways for us to participate online, like by sending presentations. I just wanted to ask, for which pre-conferences can we send these special types of presentations that some of you introduced, the Kappa Kucha ones? I would love to know, because in case we can't make it, it'll be great to send these types of presentations.
So CMA will accept a limited number of online participation, which is due to logistically actually being able to do it. But we will definitely, so CMA will be one commission where you can do that. With the sort of, we need to see how many we get, but we definitely want to offer a number of online participation. And we also offer Pecha Kucha as one of the formats, which is what you've just mentioned.
Right. Thank you.
Hayden, can I jump in?
Yes, Sylvain, did you have any comments about that here? I notice you are unmuted. No, never mind. Are you shaking his head? Shri, please take the floor.
Okay. Hi, Christian. So I'm going to paste a link on the chat box, and you can see the list of all the 8 commissions, and you can check in each of those links. That some of them are offering virtual presentations, so you can check in each of them. I know CMA is having that option. I think CEPROM is having. I think a couple of others also have that virtual option. So you can check on the individual commission.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for your question, Christian. And yes, there are many members in many parts of the world, and figuring out how to get funding to get over there. It's a battle I'm thinking of right now. How am I going to get the money? But I'll cross that bridge personally. And all of you, please reach out. Your institutions may have funding you may not be aware of for various travel funds. Getting funded by the state. There are also options for this. So explore some options, speak to your academic professors if you haven't already about this. I'm sure they will have some information about how you can potentially attain some funding. Unless we had any further questions about this here, I am happy to close us off a couple of minutes. Oh, Juan Garzon, please ask away. It looks like you're outside. I'm very jealous.
Hi, everyone. Speaking from the Netherlands, enjoying the last summer days. I wanted to ask about, well, two short questions in one. Is it possible to apply with someone else, like as a joint kind of presentation? And also, would any one of you would be able to expand a little bit on how is the poster presentation? What I've already read in the online in the website, but I'm not so sure what exactly does the poster submission means. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Juan. Would any of the commissioners like to comment? Or I imagine Shri from ISME Comms may have an answer here.
I think I'll let Alejandra take it.
Go ahead, Shri. Go ahead.
I'm sure you're better at this than I am. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No, I was going to ask the poster thing because I've done that before. So if you want to, at least in CEPROM, then all the rest of the chairs can say if they have the similar format. For CEPROM, in case you want to present a poster, you have to send a 400-word abstract before November 1st, right? And upon acceptance, you will receive the guidelines to make your poster. And then when you come to the seminar, you will have to bring your poster. There will be a place where all the posters will be posted. And you will have, I think it's a 15-minute presentation of your poster, oral presentation, right? In which you will explain your work. And the poster is going to be hanged there during all the seminar. So in my experience, when I took a poster to CEPROM, it had a great impact. I mean, people would ask me during the whole seminar about aspects of the posters, or will stop by and read it again. So actually, it's a great way of communicating your work. I encourage that.
Yes, it's the same CMA. It works exactly like Alejandra just. And also Sylvain just made a good point. You have to be a member of ISME in order to submit. And so if you submit as a team, you both have to really be a member of ISME. So I think that's something that's also important to know.
Yes, only ISME members can can submit and can present. All if you have a co-author that cannot make it, that's fine. They don't have to be an ISME member. But if they are coming to present, they have to be an ISME member.
Okay, that's very good to know. Thank you very much for both answers.
Oh, can I just re-ask this question, Shri? So if you have a co-author, the co-author does not have to be an ISME member. It's okay if he's just signed that, as long as he's not going there to present in person?
Every person who is coming on stage or who's going to present has to be an ISME member. If there are 3 people on the 3 authors and only 2 are coming to speak, the 2 of them have to be ISME members. The third one who is not coming to speak does not have to be an ISME member, does not have to be.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
That's very clear.
But you have to tell him to become ISME member, because it's better than not to be ISME.
A very good point.
Yes, there are student memberships available at discounted prices, and the prices themselves are calculated based on your purchasing power parity. So if you're from a country with a slightly lower overall income or GDP per capita, there's support available built into the pricing structure there. So it's a wonderful society initiative that's part of this here. Well, look, if there were no other questions, as I said, I'm very happy to continue on with questions for the next few minutes. But if not, Shri has one more comment. Please go ahead.
It's a question, actually, not a comment. Question is again, the question is again about the conference proceedings. I would like to have a bit more clarity because I know that there's going to be the conference proceedings for the main conference. And please correct me if I'm wrong. So do all the 8 pre-conference seminars have separate conference proceedings? And where do they go? I mean, after they're published, I know it takes a while to get published, but then which do all the abstracts, not abstracts, the full papers, or what is going to be the contents of these conference proceedings? Is it only the full papers or what else? I don't know how many questions I asked just now. Sorry. Anyone would like to answer?
I can respond to CMA. So our proceedings are all on the ISME website. Again, for students, is a really useful resource to find papers of all the last, years. And in our proceedings, we have a mixture of just the abstract and ideally the full paper. So we do obviously always encourage people to send in the full paper. But for our commission, you don't have to submit the full paper when you submit your abstract in November, which is, I think, different to what Alejandra said for her commission. So for us, you have to submit your abstract, and then in the proceedings, we aim to publish the full version.
Thank
For
you.
X-ray, it's been a little different. Either the proceedings will be, as Alicia said, on the ISME website. In past years, we've also partnered with major journals, and it's been either abstracts or full papers in the journals. I can't promise that we'll do that again this coming time, but if we don't have a journal that we put out, then it will be online. And also, you can choose to put your full paper in or an abstract.
Oh, that's useful to know. Anyone else? Any other commission has a different answer? No? Okay, thank you. That was useful to know.
Wonderful. If anyone has any questions for the various commissioners, going to the ISME-commissions.org has links to all of the commissions. You'll find all of the chairs you see here, in addition to the other commissioners. You'll be able to find their emails. And if you have any of these questions that are commission specific, which some things are, I'm sure the commissioners would be very happy to field any questions that you might have, and anything that will encourage and support you to come and attend. And Shruti's put that link in there right now. So look, I'll share this just here. A bit of a thank you for coming with the link up there, and 2 reminders is that the pre-conference seminar submissions, they close on November 1st at midnight specific. Wow. Pardon me, everyone. It is 10:30 p.m. GMT -6, so Pacific time. And for the World Conference, with some of the delays, they are closing now October 6th. Not delays, the technical issues. October 6th at Pacific time, midnight. So GMT -6. We've got a few extra days to get the World Conference submission in, and not as much time as you think for the pre-conference. That November 1st date will creep up on you. So please get ready. To everyone that's here and that's attended, thank you for coming. It's wonderful to see you all. You will receive a link after this meeting is done to give us some feedback in a survey. So that survey goes directly to us. We look at every single response, and we need to know what it is you want out of these workshops. It's very, very useful to us. And this workshop here came out of those exact surveys. That's the reason we're having this. So you can shape the content that we make to serve you and others just like you. Lastly, we've got the Facebook group. Please come on in. It's ISME Student Chapter. You'll find us. You just press like. You're part of that community there. We'll advertise all of these workshops we have and build up over time. We'd love to build up a really nice community here. If you've got any questions, you can email us, studentchapter@isme.org. I read every email, I promise you. And I hope to see many, many questions, curiosities, and requests to join ISME. And I want to bring my friend. I want to join all these commissions. Please write to us. We'd love to hear from you. Without further ado, thank you to all the commissioners for coming here today. It's so lovely to hear and to experience being this close to people who are coordinating such an integral part of the greater ISME collection. And these pre-conference seminars are so important. So we hope we get 1,000 submissions to every single one. I'm sure they actually don't want 1,000 submissions. That might kill them. But I hope we get many submissions to each of these pre-conference seminars. We'd love to see everyone that's attended this workshop here. Bring all of your friends to future workshops. Bring all your friends to ISME. Make all your friends ISME members as well. So thank you everyone for your time, commissioners especially, and we will see you next workshop. So long.
Take care all
Bye,
together.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hayden. Well done. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great job.
Cheers.
Lovely.
Goodbye.
Hey,
Thank
hey
you.
So long.
guys.
Goodbye.
So long, Numuki.
Goodbye.